Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Fudce playing World End Economica. And remember those people so we were gathering for up to his engaging project? Without us even asking, they sent us a tableted version, one after the other. And because they knew Chris understood the formulas and algorithms could decipher a program, went all out and so was told. I say so was told because I'm not all too clear on the details. I just know the amount of time Chris was spending at the office has gone down. And she started with this program's formulas right up until bedtime. Rather, she grumbled over them until we ran out of patience. When she wasn't sleeping or praying, she was staring at her tablet, biting a stylus, pinching her chin. It wasn't clinical like it was with Higana, but she was certainly engrossed in it. Even I was checking over companies extracted from a program, Chris was sitting next to me on a weak springs flat cushioned sofa. Numerous monitors were open using both keystrokes and stylus as she revised and decoded. She had a special textbook open for reference. I'm told her crazies and these haven't even been published yet. She had this because Thoreau, having got his doctorate from Lunar University, was still on record as an active researcher. So he borrowed his login for his thesis database. Situations like this made it very clear to me that connections are a major part of one's assets. Trawling the net for information is conceptually fine, but Chris was resting on a tablet on her lap, staring into it. When I said that, she perked up and looked over at me. It's hard to use, especially anonymous boards. Those are no good. But the reasons of the sharp rises and declines are pointed out there, right? The same thing was pointed out with version 2.21. Collecting the rumours, classifying them, comparing it chronologically with frequency of sunrise and fall, I'm not seeing a correlation between the numbers and rumours and frequency of steep price rises and decline. Meaning basically these rumours are randomly written here to mess up with people. But I did calculate on the estimated prices of all rumours were taken seriously at the point when new rumour services, it ended up being a plus. Rumour factor index. The yield of stock factor index was calculated assuming case of all stocks being invested. So assuming all rumours are invested into would mean it should be called a rumour factor index. But a monkey could do that if a human is going to invest, we could just toss out crappy brands and pushing up the factor index. However, why shouldn't you do that even though you expected worth is a plus? Chris looks at me, but I just shrugged. The number of brands and their performance? 522 brands and 22% in half a year. Normally wasn't too bad earning 22% when investing thoughtlessly. You're thinking in normal terms anyway. The real factor index yield should be about the same. Pick as many brands as rumour one, select a random, ignoring the rumours and calculate the predicted worth. It should give about the same numbers. Oh. The more rumours there are, the closer to the actual factor index it should be. I'm not saying she was a one-trick pony, but even though she had a capacity to apply numerous ideas into actual equations, it was hard to her to step back and think. Looking at things as a whole was very difficult. It's the same as charity group applications for financial assistance. Even if their paperwork was perfect, it's obviously the amount of people written in the documentation couldn't fit inside that small building. Raina couldn't realise that. I do think I figured out the trick of analysing company websites though. Huh? After pushing her chin on the edge of a tablet, she squeaked and lifted her head suddenly. That part is where what I understand released. There are a few sample words, and so much doesn't make sense from the statistical processes. Yet you're able to deliberately pick out brands very statistically. Everyone just tilts their heads like, what magic is this? This data. Oh, keyword is analysis? But this doesn't really have any meaning. No, it does. I only have a vague grasp of it myself. Huh? Chris peered into my screen. A tuft of her hair touched my nose, tickling it. I don't understand it at all, though. I'll just count the numbers out, look at her types. Types? Yeah, sentences can still be sentences even if you cut words out, right? Like, me, you, by the chunk. Like that. I grasped onto Chris's head with my hand and said that. Chris giggled and pulled back. Sheesh, yeah, but so what? I noticed it when I was looking at the words separated out and ranked. These guys only talk about themselves. Huh? For example, this. I pulled out one corporation's page. It showed a photo of a balding, heavy-set, energetic-looking CEO. I came to a lunar service because I found a wonderful method to beat out the rest of the service industry. I believe if my company makes that reality, I'll improve the efficiency of the moon, and my company will continue to grow. Yeah? This is standard. It could stand up to notch like crazy. Could stand to notch up a crazy a bit. Chris didn't really get it. I had no reason to pressure her, so soon I gave her the answer. There's a much simpler example. Try managing the main figure for a company that you remember the name of. Huh? Okay. Now try imagining the name of a brand that comes into your program often as a strong credentials, basically what one I like. Huh? Don't match, do they? Chris looked at me confused. What data was regardless of how you extract it, or simply collection. As the work one must do in selecting from a swarm of stocks investing, there are companies you'd recognise even if they're mentioned, but unable to actually recall unless you heard their name. So what do companies do if they have no credentials but want people to remember them? They put their president in the spotlight and have him rave. So companies, I think, could afford to be more crazy and have something in common. Have a quick glance at these words. I, succeed, grow, certainly believe. Say shuffle them around. I certainly succeed, grow, believe. Imagine some foreigner speaking these words broken on the top of a corporate page. What would you think? Chris looked at me, and a mouth voice formed a half smile. Now look at those words, but use by brands like we, everyone, definitely, development, and cooperation and improvement. Actually, starting with I versus we can leave a completely different impression. It's easy to tell if a corporation powerfully pushing everyone forward, or if it's a one-man show that sees employees as tools, right? But I is easy to understand. Which would you choose? Being told, look at me, believe me, I'll succeed. Or, please look at us, please believe us, we should succeed. Chris looked at me, a bit surprised, and gave her answer hesitantly. I. Right, people have a clearer memories of faces and groups, so in companies where you can't remember the name of their president, their logo is a recognisable alternative. Those guys working fervently in the stock market likely go from one easy understandable thing to the next. I is the word I use there. When Chris had finished listening to my explanation, she let out a breath as if spitting out everything in her chest. Her gaze as it drifts slowly back into her monitor betrayed that she'd never thought of such a thing before. I never noticed this stuff unrelated to numbers, Haru. Huh? You really are amazing. Chris said that and smiled, sitting on her couch with her knees pointing towards the outwards as she clutched a tablet. Her angelic, or perhaps innocent, expression exuded boundless tenderness. Risa once said Chris is just like the sun. I felt I sort of understood what she meant by that. No, but that's just... One's manner of speech betrays one's personality. Your big sis is glad you finally understand that. Risa seemed to appear from nowhere, poking me with the back of her head to swing round. I was just about to say that, actually. Goodness, my apologies then. Risa was about to head back into the church, still smiling, though. I thought of telling her to stop treating me like a kid, but I remembered something. So I called to her back as she was turned to me. Oh, that's right. Eleanor said the apple pie was delicious. Goodness. She said she'd love if you make another. Really? I was a bit worried since there are tons of pastry shops in that area. Yeah, she was probably just being polite. Risa's face twitched a little when I said that, but she still shrugged her shoulders and made her way back towards the church. Risa's apple pie is really good. Eleanor looked genuinely happy. She didn't seem to be acting. My joke didn't seem to sit well with Chris, so she got a bit miffed and said she'd tell Risa that later. But that's about it. I'm sure precision will increase if we gather information along these lines. Yeah, I'll tell him so, but... I looked over at Chris. I saw she'd begun giggling again as she typed. Thinking back, we really were gruff 4 years ago. Is that so? I agreed to some extent my way of speaking was rather vulgar, but I didn't remember it being that bad. It was. You talked like you were always busy and in a rush. I'm not sure I quite understand. That was 4 years ago. It's more like you've grown up. Chris said that as she looked up at me with a wicked grin. This was probably payback for a conversation at Avalon. She was being so cheeky I couldn't help myself. When I pinched Chris's cheek, she squeaked and sank her head into her shoulders and laughed. But yeah, it's true. Huh? I've grown a bit. That would have been possible alone. Chris's face looked silly, a reflection of in a curved mirror as I tugged into a soft cheek. Yet her eyes were so intelligent and beautiful blue. Laughing kindly, she took my hand. That's right, you're not alone. 4 years ago I was defeated and stuck into a pit of hell, losing Hagana, whose hand once grasped mine. I felt like I'd lost everything, but that wasn't the case. Risa helped me, Chris stayed by me, and even Soro had shown support, and my parents didn't disown the foolish child of theirs. I wasn't here by my strength alone. I really did feel the hint of a word analysis was mainly because of what Risa had said to me. When she would imitate me and repeat my words back, I could tell when I'd sounded arrogant and foolish. Even the program Chris is tweaking right now, without being connected to others, it can never be being created. Working together with someone must have been at least as fun as Chris as in putting stuff onto a tablet. I don't think that was all bad. I don't think it was because my dream of going to an unexplored world failed. It's better to have someone on your side. More than that, I realise that even if you go to an unexplored world, you should be able to look back and see a lot of people supporting you. As I thought along those lines, I suddenly realised something. I fielded my tablet and checked my email. An email from Eleanor had come. The apple pie from yesterday was quite delicious. I ended up eating the whole thing myself. Please convey my compliments to Risa. On an unrelated note, I'll try gathering more data on my end. If there's any data or information you'd like, please contact me. I have faith to your eye you'll be able to see something I have not. P.S. Would it be possible to have her make another apple pie? It was truly delicious. My apologies for the abrupted invitation. It had been quite a while and it was splendid. No need for word analysis there. I know what kind of room Eleanor was in after she typed that email, but I had been forced to realise something by rereading it. Eleanor really was alone. Certainly if no one was looking around like Risa said, they'd probably be able to find numerous stores with a good apple pie. The fact she'd asked Risa despite this made me sense something else. Also, in regards to dinner, I was likely treated to an unbelievably expensive meal, and undoubtedly Eleanor was busier than me. Of course, just as jokingly said to Risa, social obligation was factored into the way the email was written. But I'd certainly heard it directly from Eleanor's mouth. Right now, it is impossible all by myself. Just like my rebound from 4 years ago wouldn't have been able to be possible by myself. But neither Marco nor Legoff were in that room, and the only break she had being in front of her at the aquarium in the cafe. We also recall that conversation in the car as we headed to the restaurant. Eleanor had conviction. She was bracing herself for it to be realised, but in real life you encountered friction just by living. It could be the massive amount of medicine on Eleanor's desk wasn't just for the hard work she does. In the church run by Risa, in the living room with Chris and Risa, I relaxed as I inspected the data. Eleanor was working in a cutthroat world where huge sums passed back and forth, forcing herself to act completely against her nature in front of her camera. Just seeing that room showed me that Eleanor was leading an impossible lifestyle. I didn't, however, see that whole image clearly. I quickly became worried about Eleanor. What's the matter? She unexpectedly asked. Even though it was expressionless, she could tell. Now just remembering something. What is it? Chris looked at me innocently. I wasn't stuck on what to say, rather this was something I couldn't really talk to Chris about. Even though I was worried about Eleanor, what could I possibly do? Thinking about it, I realised I didn't know what kind of job Eleanor was doing, nor the basics of it. Hey. Yeah? You know, analysts. Oh yeah. I have that data, it's just they were expected to have good returns. I believe... No, not that. Huh? She was a bit confused and looked at me. There's one person that came to mind from that. I got up the couch and made my way to a church. Rita was doing a daily cleaning of a church when she realised I was there. She looked at me like she hadn't been expecting me. Goodness, yes. There's someone I'd like to get in contact with. What? Do you know Mr. Tiyama? I felt a bit cautious and added a title. He was a moneylender that lent Risa money back then. She paused while cleaning and looked at me. There's something I wanted to ask him. She looked like she was going to say something, but in the end didn't. I wouldn't tell her that I noticed her eyes going down to look at my right hand. Well, there's a face we haven't seen in a while. I think this is probably a good stopping point for this episode. Well, as ever, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Join me next time when we'll look at Mr. Toyama again. Bye bye.